inside timeline_item.test.ts there is a pretty similar test to the one from the activities.test.ts. It's this one which tests updating activity, but as we can see in here we have two different expectations. And just like we have done for the activities test, we can split up this test by two to keep only one expectation into every test. So I'm gonna go back to activities.test.ts. In here we have previously split up this test by two, so I'm gonna copy over this describe block, move it into timelineitems.test.ts. Of course, in the description for this describe block, we will mention that we are testing the function called update timeline item. And now let's copy the first test and paste it down here inside the describe block. Now let's change the descriptions of both of these tests to better replicate what these tests are actually testing. The first test is going to ensure that we are mutating the original timeline item object while calling update timeline item function. And the other one is going to check that we return proper value from the update timeline item function. And now I'm going to extract the common parts from both of these tests, such as this updated fields object. It is present in both tests, so I'm going to move it up here inside describe block. Then let's remove the declaration of this object from the first test, as well as this constant which accepts return value of the update timeline item function, since in this test we're not going to check return value, we are only keeping one expectation to ensure that update timeline item function is going to mutate original timeline item object. And inside the next test we're gonna do the opposite thing. Here we are removing the first expectation and checking only return value of the update timeline item function. By the way, these two lines can be combined by inlining update timeline item call, like so. And there we go, all tests are still passing, but now we are seeing that the first two tests were grouped under the same heading by using the describe block. Moving on, and now we're going to use another describe block inside timelineItem.test.ts to group remaining two tests. Because if we'll take a look at the implementation of both of these tests, we're gonna see a lot of declaration for objects. The preparation part of these tests is pretty big, so it makes sense to extract some of these declarations to not repeat ourselves. And then let's use describe and wrap these two tests. And as a description for this describe block, I cannot use name of the function because these tests are testing different functions. So I simply use name of the entity that we are testing in here, timeline items. And now it is time to extract repeated declarations from both of these tests. We can move these two objects, training activity as well as reading activity, outside of the test and put them inside the describe block. Next, let's remove declarations of these objects from the second test in this describe block. And this way we were able to reduce duplications in this file by using describe block and moving common functionality outside of testing functions. So by now we have two describe blocks in this file, each of which contains two testing scenarios. As we can see, all tests in this file are passing. Let's also make sure that all tests in the projects are passing as well. And they are. So we can continue working on tests in the next lesson. Link to the source code of this project will be in the video description.